Hi, I'm Susanna Bowling, and this is live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents Zoom Style. Today, we're with somebody who I've never met actually, and I'm very interested to learn about her. She writes novels for young artists. She writes for the young audience. She is a composer and a lyricist, and she also writes plays. So we're going to learn all about Eileen Bluestone Sherman. Eileen, hi, how are you?
Hi, well, thank you for inviting me. So nice to be here.
Thank
Yes,
you.
you
So,
kind of got all that right.
oh, good. What did you start off doing? Because you do so many things.
Yes, I do many things. My career started many years ago in Kansas City, of all places. They were beginning a new children's theater called the Coterie. Two young women who had this was a real startup. And I had just moved to Kansas City, and I read a little blurb in the Kansas City Times about looking for new artists, new performers. And I'd had my degree in theater. And I thought, well, this would be a great way to get to know the theater community because I did not know anyone in Kansas City. So I went to audition for them, but I auditioned for them with something I had written. And they said, "Where did you get that?" And I said, "I wrote it." They said, "Will you write for us?" And that's how I became a playwright and a lyricist.
When you came into that, were you also a performer?
Yes, I originally was performing at that time. I performed through college and then I did go get my master's. And then I was doing a little bit. I was a new mother. So, but I found a little bit of time to be, and that's when I was living in Danbury, Connecticut. And there was a theater group up there that I did join and I did work on a couple of projects with. Don't ask me the names, I've forgotten, but that was kind of like my escape from, a newborn. And so it was a lot of fun then. But I really went to Kansas City thinking I would perform, but I became a playwright and also an author and a lyricist, and I never looked back because I realized watching the first play that they produced of mine, this is why I love theater. I love the storytelling. So it was a great revelation.
Did you work at Starlight while you were there?
I did not work. I knew people, and I will tell you an interesting story. One of the major projects of my career is called The Odd Potato. And the
I
odd,
was, that was
yeah,
what I was bringing up next. So good.
right. And The Odd Potato was originally a picture book for Hanukkah. And then I created it as a musical. And that was primarily for community theaters and kids groups. But then I did reach out to Starlight. And Starlight asked me when I worked with one of their artistic directors, they said, "Well, we love this musical, but we need an anthem. We need some kind of finale song." They were, wherever you work, someone starts to add. And that's really what's great about musical theater is that you have this collaborative effort and new talents come into it. So I wrote with my sister. My sister is the composer, I'm the lyricist. And we wrote a song called A Child's Dream Will Light the Way. And that became the anthem. Now, this never appeared on the stage at Starlight. You know how theater goes, ups and downs. However, it did then go on to be a special television show in Chicago, which went on to earn the Emmy Award for Chicago television. And then it came to New York and it was produced. I produced that with seven fabulous Broadway Tony and Tony nominee actors, and then we put together an album with 20 Tony Award winners. And that song, A Child's Dream Will Light the Way, which was not the original in the original production, that really became the calling card for the show. And it has been performed on stage at Lincoln Center and at Carnegie Hall by the likes of Lillias White and performed by, in fact, it was just performed not too long ago by a wonderful New York City youth choir who were invited down to Orlando, Florida to Disney World. And they just actually just a few weeks ago, they performed A Child's Dream Will Light the Way. So that song has gone on to do a lot, and I give credit to the artistic director at Starlight.
Well, I'm glad I asked the question.
Okay.
It's Starlight, so I thought I should ask. Um, you mentioned working with Lilius. You've worked with her before, haven't you, as well?
Well, that's that we began working when it was actually it was kind of two projects at the same time. Lilius was an original cast, a member of when we did our initial reading of a musical about Norman Rockwell. And so she has been many steps of the way on that project, which has been done as a special event at Lincoln Center and also up in Vermont. And so, yes, so she's kind of been attached to that project, but we were working on the Odd Potato kind of simultaneously.
Wait, did you do a reading of this Norman Rockwell musical?
Oh yes, oh
Mark
yes, we did it. We did not only a reading of
Sardi's?
a
Was that
long
Sardi's?
a while ago. That was a
I was
while
there.
ago.
I saw that.
But uh in 2013, and maybe that's what you saw, we also did a or was it 2018? We did a special event that was both up in Vermont, but also up at Lincoln Center. It was a special evening at Lincoln
Yeah,
Center.
but
Yes.
the version I saw was either at Sardi's or
Oh, you saw that before we did the Vermont event, the big
I knew it was
musical.
going to
Yes, and
Vermont.
and that was a full stage musical with Randy Skinner as director and choreographer. Yes,
Yeah, I was there with Pat and Magda, as a matter of fact.
that's right. Okay, good. I'm glad
Um,
you saw it.
I did. I liked it a lot, as a matter of fact.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm a big Norman Rockwell fan. So
As we all are, yes.
the odd potato, I have to ask this, which don't ask me why, but is it about a potato that doesn't make it into a latke?
No, no. It is actually based on my father's true life story. My father was a very poor boy during the Depression. His own father died when he was only 6 years old. And every day he went to synagogue to say the mourner's prayer. And come Hanukkah time, he wanted to light the Hanukkah menorah. And my grandmother, they were immigrants from Austria, and they had no money for a real menorah, but she took a potato and carved out, basically made it as the base as for a menorah so that he could light the candles when he was 6 years old. And when I was growing up, my daddy told me that story every Hanukkah. So it's really in memory of him.
Did you continue the tradition of carving out the potato?
Oh, that tradition has been done by schools and children and community centers all over the country.
I
Yes.
think that's
And
great.
I still get notes that people, tell me that they are still making their menorahs out of potatoes. Yes, yes.
That's like seriously clever.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my grandmother had to be seriously clever because again, it was the Depression. There was no money. Yes.
What are you working on now?
Well, I'm working on a couple of things. I typically am working on two and three things simultaneously. And one is an ongoing project of mine. As you stated, I'm also a young adult novelist, and I've also been a college professor of both undergraduate and graduate students. And literature and literacy and reading and writing is extremely, I feel, very important to the success of anybody. And so I have developed a YouTube channel called Leanie's Library. And I also learned many years ago when I was working as a theater arts director at a Montessori school that musical theater can really teach children. They don't have to become stars, but it teaches them, not only does it teach them presence and confidence and self-esteem, but it actually teaches them. It teaches them academics. And so I've put together my two loves, reading and musical theater. And I've created this YouTube channel called Leanie's Library. And I've created animated picture book musicals. They're all original songs that my sister and I have written, but created them as picture books with graphic, wonderful designers that have designed wonderful animation for them. And in fact, just in the last few weeks, one of our picture book musicals at Mr. Weintraub's grocery store has I've received notices that they're being honored at two different film festivals in California. So
Oh,
I'm very happy. And this is a project I plan, it's an ongoing project. So far, we have six picture book musicals. We have Broadway stars like Stephanie Pope and let's see, Christian Hoff and Debbie Gravitt, who are, the vocalists on them. We have wonderful, some Grammy people on it and some wonderful musical arrangements. And so I'm just going to keep developing them on and on so that it's a library to entertain kids, but also for them to practice reading.
I am a Montessori schoolgirl.
Okay.
And yes, that musicals, anyone will tell you, like, if there's a way that a musical can be brought up into the conversation. Also, I think that, Schoolhouse Rock and Reading Rainbow, all of those shows, when I was growing up, taught me things. I mean, I honestly learned my multiplications from Multiplication Rock.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure of
And
it.
because I could sing them, and then if I didn't know them, I would sing them in my head.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the premise behind to entertain, but also they're fun, they're upbeat songs. Kids will sing and dance to them, and the words are also animated. It's not just graphics. The words themselves are animated, so that it allows for kids to be seeing the words, and there's a lot of repetition. I mean, musical theater anyway, in lyrics, there's a lot of repetition so that you're repeating and rhyming helps a lot in learning. So I just think that it's something that's ongoing and for just keep going with as kids are growing up. I always have a new batch of 3, 4, and 5 year olds learning to read.
I'm telling you, as you're talking right now, all of the songs from that series are now going through my head. Like right now, I'm singing Conjunction Junction.
See, right? Exactly. Exactly.
I still
Exactly.
remember them. I love them.
Well, I agree because I think that the songs that we sing when we're little are the songs that are stay with us for the rest of our lives. They have
Absolutely.
the greatest impression on us. So that's one of my projects.
So
And
what
then
else are you working on?
well, I just found out that the album will be released on August 21st. I was asked last December, a colleague of mine, I'm a Grammy voter, and so I'm very involved in the Recording Academy. And a colleague of mine who is also in the Recording Academy, but he's also a filmmaker. And he had basically put together a gorgeous film, an independent film, some years ago called One Little Finger, which then had a lot of honors at least 30 different film festivals around the world. And One Little Finger, its theme is ability in disability. And it's comprised of a lot of different stories that are based on truth, but then I call this historical fiction because, you kind of make a mishmash and you use a little bit of poetic justice, poetic license for writing. And he called me up and he said, I love my film. He had just come back from India doing a major presentation with it. Says it's presented everywhere. But he said, my dream is to make this into a musical theater piece. And he said, that's not my expertise, but it is your expertise. So would you help me put this together? So I studied the film, but even more important, he had written a book as a storybook of these stories. And I'm very adept at adapting from books. I've done it with my own novels and adapting it to the stage. So I basically created a script with music, and not just my music and my sister's music, but there's a collaboration of many different artists and genres who are all part of this. And this is now going to be released on, as I said, on August 21st. And our long-term goal, and we're hoping that maybe it's next summer, to actually put it up on its feet, as you say. So it is One Little Finger, a musical.
When you say being released, is it being released as an album?
As an album, as a but the album includes all the dialogue and the music. In other words, you are listening to the concert reading, as you know, as if you were coming to the concert reading, but I can see the dancing, I can see the staging, I can see so much, and I'm really looking forward to continuing the work on it.
Who's singing on this album?
On the album, there are Grammy nominees and Grammy winners. I not know Broadway people. There is a Broadway actor who is one of the speakers on the album. Who is an actor on the album,
Who
but
is,
his name is Antonio Edward Suarez. He
oh, yeah.
began his career at Lincoln Center, and he's also has a recurring role on Law and Order as one of the judges. Okay, so people, if they follow Law and Order, they'll know Antonio. But the performers are a wonderful young woman named Vivian Fang Liu, another one, Flora Bromley. What we take great pride in this, because this subject is very universal about people with disabilities, but not appearing invisible, not being dismissed, but able to contribute and perform and present equally to anyone else. Because as we even mentioned in this, if you live long enough, all of us are going to have some kind of disability. And so, um, but what we really take great pride in this, our artists come from all over the world: India, Peru, Canada, China, Japan, Australia. I mean, we represent all the continents except Antarctica.
So when you do this as a show, will you be using disabled performers?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I can see. Have you taken it to Deaf West yet?
We haven't, our first step was just to make the album to be able then to present it and to share it with others. But we do know that people in the Recording Academy, that they are very excited about it. So we know we have a lot of musicians on board.
This sounds like the zeitgeist of what's going on right now, of people trying to help people in creative ways.
Oh yes.
It
Oh
makes
yes.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I can give you a couple of companies that would probably do this ASAP.
Well, that would be fabulous. And that's exactly what, because we think, well, first of all, it's an important issue. And we're hoping, especially, that our audience will be all inclusive, not just adults, but certainly for young people and youngsters to see, because the story is very entertaining, but also very, very inspiring. It is about a young woman here in the States who is going for her PhD, and she's having a lot of self-doubt. She's a scientist, and she has this theory about music and how it impacts the brain and how it could help people with disabilities. And she has this theory, and she goes to, and her mentor advises her to go to the Hope Institute in Kolkata, where her advisor is friends with the head of that institute, and to work with the children there who have multiple kind of disabilities. But I don't want to give too much away. but she learns as much from the children as the children learn from her. And it's a very inspiring, and as I said, it's based on many true stories. It's a kind of a combination and an interaction of different stories that the director originally put together. So it's a very, and again, the music is both has a Broadway vibe, also from a cultural Indian vibe, also just a rock vibe. There's so much going on, and so it's quite universal.
It's funny because besides T2C, I own a site called Unlocking the Keys to Healing. And
Oh,
I wrote several articles on how music heals
yes.
and how it can impact how you're healing. I mean, we're how much water
Yeah.
and vibration
Hmm.
affects us. And most people don't think about that. What else is in your wheelhouse of what you want to do?
What else is in my wheelhouse that what I want to do? Well, there is talk that there's some going to be possibly in I won't say this year, but in a couple years, some interest again in putting the Odd Potato up on stage again in New York, which would be very, very exciting. And I think for right now, to be quite honest, I'm trying to keep my focus on One Little Finger because that's if we can pull that together, that's a big, big project.
No, and it's a great project.
The other thing that I've not mentioned, okay, is because I do love, yes, I am a playwright, lyricist, young adult novelist, and a producer, but not just on stage, but in the recording studio, and then an educator. But one thing that I put together, and we're now over 10 years old, and Magda knows about this as well, is a organization, an international organization called the Indie Collaborative. And the Indie Collaborative is an organization for independent musicians and artists in the music world. And we are now over 2,000 members around the world. I boast that we have members from every continent except Antarctica. And
Why
we
don't
on
you like Antarctica?
excuse no penguins have been interested anyway. So, but we have in years past, in fact, just this past December, we have produced at Lincoln Center and Carnegie Hall, our members, The Bitter End at 54 Below. So every once in a while, some of us, a group of us will get together. Obviously, not all 2,000. We've even done a presentation in Newcastle, England. So it's a really, really fun thing, and they're from all different genres. So musical theater is just kind of, I'm almost on the fringe of this group because musical theater is just one of it's rap, it's reggae, it's hip hop, it's every kind of
Yes.
music, classical. We have classical pianists from the Ukraine. It's an amazing group of artists. South Africa. So it's really, really fun. And then that's how I pulled some of these musicians to get involved with One Little Finger.
How does somebody join that?
They can join it by just because there are no fees for membership at this point, and they can join just coming to our website at indiecollaborative.com. And there's just like, you click on whatever that is. And my co-partner, Grant Malloy Smith, he is the tech guru. He takes care of it all. So anyway, and then once you're in, you're in. And we
Do
did
you
have this past June, we also have every so often we'll do showcases just for the inside industry members. And so people get to know one another. We've created new collaborations. Many of these new collaborations have gone on to win Grammy Awards. So it's very exciting.
when people go to join, is there a talent measure to it?
No, no, everybody joins. We do not kind of. measure somebody's past career, let's put it. You might be new. You have to be over 18. We can't, although we certainly salute and honor children in the music and theater world. We can't be responsible for kids. So you have to be over 18, but our showcases allow Grant and me to curate so that we know where people are in their careers and what they can basically what talents they can lend when we're actually curating a show for a place like Carnegie Hall or Lincoln Center.
No, the reason I ask is because there, sadly to say, are a lot of people out there that claim that they're performers, but they can't sing.
No, we
And
know what we know immediately.
I am literally a Simon Cowell of that.
Yes,
Um,
no. We know immediately, or they can't play the instrument that, or play it as well as they need to play it. They may play an instrument, but they need to play it at a certain level. So yes, so this allow us to be aware of who, but we encourage everyone to join because we think that by being among people who are great artists, it ups your game. Well, my son Joshua Sherman I have two children, and I'm very proud of both. My daughter is an attorney, and she does do some entertainment law on the side, but she is primarily a real estate attorney, commercial real estate. But my son Joshua has two careers. He both is a doctor. He is an internist. He went to medical school, but he also his great love and talents for the arts. He continues to work in that vein as well, and he has created up in Arlington, in East Arlington, Vermont, a arts complex where he has actually a state-of-the-art music studio. In fact, a few years ago, he won what is considered the premier award for music studios, the NAMM Tech Award. But he also has produces plays, and he also is the publisher of several of the publications up there, and he is involved with all the arts that's going on in the Berkshire Mountains. So you
oh,
will
wow.
maybe reading articles in Berkshire Magazine and interviews written by my son, Josh, with some of the major stars.
What kind of doctor is he?
He's an internist, and he's a very fine internist as well, as is my husband. So it was a very funny story. He basically he was trained as a set and costume designer, was already designing on Broadway with Tony Walton, the set
Wow,
designer.
yeah.
And yes, and working with Willa Kim. And then he decided in his senior year of college that he was going to go to medical school like his father. So he went to both medical school, he did all this theater work, and now he does both.
Is he an indigo child?
He's just a very unique individual and a fabulous son, as is my daughter.
No, that's impressive. I mean, there's so much to get from that.
Well, his complex is called Old Mill Road, and you should go up, Google Old Mill Road recording. Yes, and you'll
Well,
see all about it.
Eileen, thank you so much for coming on and being with us
Well,
today.
thank you so much for inviting me. It was a lot of fun.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
I'd like to thank Magda Katz for always videoing us and making us look as good as we can. Uh,
And
I,
I would like to thank Magda for the invitation as well. She's
yes, absolutely. She's
been a
great.
good friend for many years. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Romel Gopez and the Hotel Edison for always giving us a place to be and for always being on our side. I'm Susanna Bowling. This is live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents Zoom Style.